Some of the smartest people in a room can look the least certain. They pause, revise, and say, "I don't know," while everyone else rushes toward an answer. So is that hesitation a weakness? Or is their mind tracking more than one possibility? We'll examine metacognition, cognitive flexibility, and tolerance for ambiguity to see what research supports, what it doesn't, and why no single habit can prove someone has a high IQ. Imagine a meeting where someone asks a difficult question. One person answers immediately. Another person goes quiet. They ask what the question means. They point out an exception. Then they change their first answer. From the outside, the first person may look more intelligent. Confidence is easy to see. Processing is not. Difficult problems contain missing information, competing goals, and hidden assumptions. A thoughtful pause can mean the person is not searching for one answer. They are testing several. That does not make hesitation proof of intelligence. Fear, fatigue, and anxiety can also slow a response. The useful question is not, did they pause? It is, what happened inside the pause? The first pattern is metacognition, the mind's ability to monitor its own thinking. It is the difference between knowing an answer and estimating how reliable that answer is. You use it when you think, "I remember this, but I may be mixing up two details." Or, "This conclusion feels right, but I haven't checked the assumption underneath it." Research on decision-making treats confidence and error monitoring as important parts of metacognition. In simple terms, the brain does not only make a choice, it can also evaluate the quality of that choice. That second layer changes behavior. They may separate what they know from what they suspect. They may ask for evidence before increasing their confidence. To someone who equates certainty with intelligence, that can look weak. But, "I don't know yet," is sometimes a highly informative answer. It tells you the person has found the edge of their knowledge. The second pattern is tolerance for ambiguity. Some questions feel uncomfortable because they do not offer immediate closure. A friendship changes, but nobody says why. A business decision has evidence on both sides. A scientific result supports more than one explanation. When uncertainty feels unbearable, the mind often reaches for the fastest available story. Not necessarily the best one, just the one that ends the discomfort. A deeper thinker may resist that urge longer. They may say, both explanations are possible. They may leave a conclusion open while gathering more information. They may notice that the problem itself has been framed too narrowly. It is the ability to remain functional while the answer is incomplete. And there is a cost. Holding several possibilities at once takes effort. It can make ordinary conversations feel slow. It can even make the thinker appear less confident than someone who has simply stopped questioning. The third pattern is cognitive flexibility, the ability to change strategies or interpretations when the situation changes. Suppose you believe a coworker ignored your message because they are upset with you. Then you learn their phone was broken. A rigid mind protects the first story. It searches for reasons the new information does not matter. A flexible mind updates. So intelligent thinking is not only the ability to build a convincing model, it is the willingness to dismantle that model when reality stops supporting it. This is why changing your mind can be a sign of strength rather than inconsistency. The important detail is the cause. Changing because of pressure is not the same as changing because the evidence improved. The mature question is not, did you stay consistent? It is, did your confidence change in proportion to what you learned? The fourth pattern is multiple model thinking. A quiet employee may be disengaged, or deeply focused, or uncertain about the social rules, or waiting until they have something useful to add. A late reply may signal avoidance, or a demanding day, or a person carefully choosing their words. A shallow explanation selects one model and treats it as reality. A deeper explanation compares models and asks what evidence would distinguish them. This habit can improve judgment. It can also create overthinking. Deep thinking moves toward discrimination. It asks, what information would help me choose between these possibilities? Rumination moves in circles. It repeats the same possibilities without collecting new evidence, making a decision, or changing behavior. One expands the map so you can navigate. The other keeps redrawing the map so you never have to move. Here's the uncomfortable twist. People who value intelligence can become trapped by the image of being intelligent. They may avoid simple questions because they want to sound complex. They may keep analyzing after the decision is clear. They may use uncertainty as protection from being wrong. That is not intellectual humility. It is identity management. Real intellectual humility does not mean shrinking your voice or doubting everything. It means recognizing the limits of a belief without pretending every belief is equally weak. Sometimes the evidence is strong. Sometimes a decision must be made before certainty arrives. A capable mind does not worship uncertainty. It calibrates it. It knows when to pause, when to investigate, and when the available evidence is good enough to act. So how can you tell whether your hesitation is helping? Try 3 questions. First, what exactly am I uncertain about? Name the missing variable. Do not settle for, I'm just not sure. Second, what evidence would change my mind? If the honest answer is nothing, you may not be reasoning. You may be defending. Third, what is the smallest responsible action I can take before I know everything? That question protects you from both reckless certainty and endless delay. You can ask for one clarification, run a small test, set a deadline, make a reversible choice, or say, based on what I know now, this is my best judgment. It is confident without pretending to be permanent. That is often what mature thinking sounds like. IQ tests can measure certain cognitive abilities under specific conditions. They do not read character, wisdom, curiosity, emotional maturity, or the full complexity of a person's mind. And everyday habits are even less precise. Talking to yourself, staying up late, enjoying solitude, or overthinking a text message cannot diagnose high intelligence. Each behavior can arise from many causes. That does not make the psychology meaningless. It changes the claim. Instead of asking, does this habit prove I'm smart? Ask, what cognitive process might this behavior reveal? And is that process helping me? The value is not in collecting flattering signs. It is in becoming more accurate about your own mind. The deepest form of intelligence may not be having the fastest answer. It may be knowing how strongly to hold an answer, strong enough to act when action is needed, lightly enough to revise when reality changes, and honestly enough to say, I don't know, without turning uncertainty into shame. So the next time someone pauses before responding, do not assume there is nothing happening. They may be noticing the assumption inside the question. They may be separating evidence from intuition. They may be choosing between several explanations, or they may simply be uncertain. The point is not to label them. The point is to understand that visible confidence and careful thinking are not the same thing. A mind is not deep because it never gets lost. It is deep because it can notice where it is, revise the map, and keep moving. And perhaps the better question is not, how intelligent do I look? It is, how honestly do I update what I think I know?